Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Veterinary Business Podcast, the space where modern veterinary leadership meets real-world strategy, and where we unpack what it truly takes to build a veterinary practice that thrives. I'm your host, Dan Adisha, and I'm glad you're joining us today. In today's world, pet owners aren't just Googling anymore. They're asking AI. They're asking AI questions like, who's the best vet near me? How much does a puppy wellness visit cost? Do I need vaccinations for my new kitten? And often, they're getting answers without ever clicking a single link. Our episode today is titled, AI is Changing How Pet Owners Find You, Everything You Need to Know, How to Adapt and Thrive. So, to discuss this, we are joined by Naren Arulraja, CEO of Equa Marketing and founder of the Veterinary Business Podcast. Naren has spent years helping veterinary practices stay visible and grow online, guiding clinics through website optimization, SEO, online reputation, and digital marketing strategies that actually work. Today, we are looking to explore what zero-click searches are and why they matter for your practice, how AI decides which veterinary clinics to recommend to pet owners, why online reputation and reviews are more critical than ever, how a well-rounded marketing strategy still matters even in the age of AI. With that being said, Naren, welcome back to the Veterinary Business Podcast. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much, Don. I'm so happy to be here. And as some of you know, I studied computer science and graduated with a degree in computer science in 1998 from the Illinois Institute of Technology, IIT. And of course, then I started working as a programmer, got into product management, was director of product management before I went on my own, I believe around 2002. And then, of course, Equa was founded in 2007. So computer science and the use of AI, which is part of computer science. I even remember taking a course on AI in 1998. Of course, things are very different back then. We didn't have the compute we had today. Like literally, it was like, a million times more compute we have today than we had in those days in terms of cost per compute. And also speed and everything else. So it's a different world, but even then people were trying, to work on AI. And I remember talking about self-driving cars and, if it could be done, how it could be done, and all those kind of theoretical questions. But it's fun to see that AI is here to stay and it's for real. So this topic, how AI is changing how pet owners find you is a timely topic. So I'm really interested in diving into it.
So we keep hearing about these zero-click searches. What exactly are they, and why should practice owners care about them for their practices?
It's a great question. And just to kind of put this in perspective, Google is used more than 30 billion times a day. And when we look at Google, you have Google Maps, Google SEO, Chrome, the browser, Android, the operating system, even things like Google Photos, Google Calendars, Google Drive. Google has literally like 10 or more products that are used by more than 1 billion people. And I think they have more than 5 products that are used by more than 3 billion people. And especially in North America, Google has a huge market share, like for example, 92%. So Google is a dominant player, and their whole vision in life is to become so useful you can't live without them. Like you can't live without Google Maps, you can't live without Google Search. And when you have a 92% market share, that's a pretty good testament. They have done a great job in doing that. So zero-click searches in the context of Google, which is how 95% of the people find you today, is they don't even have to go to your website anymore. They can get your phone number, your reviews, information about your services, all from Google. So this way, people, even though you need the website, because that's how we talk to Google and that's how we get Google to rank us, we have to understand one of the oldest strats we used to use, like visitors to the website, may not be as important. Instead, how many people are calling you? Again, putting tracking phone numbers, lead forms and so forth, and seeing how many leads are coming from different sources. If Google SEO and Google Organic is one source, how many are you getting from that source versus you're running ads? find some other way to track the, new patients or new clients from that source. So the world is changing. So I think you have to keep understanding that Google wants people to get more and more information from Google. So you will get people finding your phone number directly off of Google. You will get people, going to the Google itself and clicking on a link to book an appointment. So that's just the way the world is working. So you have to, and as part of that, AI overview has become a key piece. So AI overview is the idea that, for certain kind of questions, for example, if you ask a question, how much does, neutering cost in the city of Chicago for a puppy, right? Google will look at 4 or 5 different places close to you and give you a summary saying, okay, it can range from here to here, and these are the different options, and it'll give you like this research paper, like maybe a 1-page research document on the cost of XYZ in a certain city. So that's an example of what we call Google AI Overview. What Google had done several months ago is to incorporate AI into the main Google product. As when ChatGPT came along, Google launched something called Gemini. Now Gemini is part of Google Search. Of course, they still have a separate product called Gemini, but Google Search itself, for almost 1 billion searches a day, is providing answers in the form of Google AI Overview. I hear that Google Search is used 12 billion times a day, and Google Search is 1 billion, right? And given how big Google is in North America, it's crushing it. Now, ChatGPT has around 800 million users. Now, ChatGPT, almost 90% of them are outside of the US. So even though they have some decent numbers, that's also on a weekly basis as opposed to Google numbers at daily basis. So ChatGPT, people in the US who are using Google ChatGPT on a daily basis is perhaps not even 50 million. So Google, compare that to 3 billion. I mean, compare that to, 92% of Americans using Google like multiple times a day. So I do think Google is what you still need to focus on. As soon as ChatGPT came along, Google's stock price didn't move for a couple of years, but last year it doubled. Now it's $4 trillion worth. Pretty much there's like 1 or 2 companies, I think Apple and Nvidia, that are bigger than Google. Google has become the dominant player in AI. And that's because they have been investing in AI going back to 2016. They bought DeepMind, and of course, DeepMind is the fabled company out of the UK, and the founder got a Nobel Prize for inventing something around proteins, and of course they're doing a lot of interesting advances. So Google have been at AI for a long time, but they were very, very careful because we know AI can hallucinate, do dumb and wrong things. So Google has been really careful on that. So they were a little bit slow out of the gate, but now that they have all the components, everything from chips to the most number of users using their products to all kinds of real-time data, like they have more data of what's going on in the world than anybody else, both through Google Search as well as through YouTube. They have an unfair advantage. So they're bringing all of it together and connecting the dots, and today they are becoming extremely formidable. And even there's an internal email from the CEO of OpenAI saying code red. They are in trouble because Google just owns every part of the layer from free to enterprise. So anyways, it's going to be an interesting 10, 20 years as these big companies fight it out. I think Google is the company to beat. And of course, OpenAI and others are also trying their level best.
Absolutely. And now that you mentioned Google, being the most dominant player out there, how can our listeners truly make their veterinary websites likely to show up in these AI-driven answers, whether that be, AI overview, ChatGPT, and search results for pet owners?
Yeah, exactly. So if you are typing in a doctor for my dog near me or city name or whatever, the regular search and the Google Maps will show up like before. But if you are typing in questions like how much does this cost, where you want Google to do the research and give you the answer, then Google AI Overview will show up. And one of the links at the bottom of the AI Overview result is click here to learn more, or go deep analysis, and then it'll go to AI mode. That's something you have to opt in, and you have to click on it to do the thorough AI research. So AI is built into Google today. Now, I already shared the ChatGPT numbers, and ChatGPT still is used for things like, summarize this document for me, write an email for me, etc. Right? Because people know ChatGPT or OpenAI doesn't have real-time data like Google has. So a lot of times, like for example, there was after the Venezuelan president was captured, ChatGPT didn't know that he was captured because he doesn't have real-time data. So it was giving all kinds of incorrect answers about what's going on. And I also hear from people like, ChatGPT says there's a dentist who works in a certain area. He hasn't practiced for 3 years. ChatGPT doesn't have real-time data. And the same issue applies to Perplexity. However, like as a company, we focus on everything. We focus on Google AI Overview. We focus on AI Mode, Perplexity, and ChatGPT. For example, even though very, very, very few people, not even like 1 or 2% of the people are using Perplexity or ChatGPT to do search type queries, we don't want to take a chance. What if those grow and become big? So we want to make sure our clients are showing up everywhere. So we track how many keywords where they're showing up for. And the biggest problem we are running into with ChatGPT and Perplexity is they don't have correct information. So we want to make sure our clients' information is accurate. So for example, if the office hours are from 9 to 4, then ChatGPT and Perplexity also has the correct information. So dealing with all of that, so you need someone totally focusing on, because AI is here to stay, Google AI Overview, AI Mode, Perplexity, and ChatGPT. So you need someone who's totally focused on making it all happen.
Absolutely. And now with AI recommending vet practices, how does it actually decide which practices to suggest to pet owners?
Yeah, let's settle on Google for a minute, because Google is the dominant player overall as well as for AI. So Google is using two things a lot more today than before. Three things actually. One is they want human generated content, not AI generated content. Why? Google knows that AI generated content could be hallucinating. In other words, it could be incorrect. And they can't take a chance like that when it comes to healthcare. Like imagine it says, take pill number A, where pill number A is bad for you, and you get sick and you die. Now Google is liable. So it really doesn't want to take AI content and show that information to people. So EAT stands for experience, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. So when you put your bio, the fact that you have a degree from a reputed university, fact that you are licensed to practice veterinary medicine and so forth, now Google knows it's not taking a chance. This is a certified person who will lose his license if he or she says incorrect things, and now Google references that. So human content, doctor content becomes important. So we make sure that our clients have all of those things that Google is looking for embedded in those pages. Their qualifications, their bios, and everything else. Second thing Google is telling us is something called CR/UX. CR stands for Chrome, UX for user interface. So Google wants to make sure it doesn't matter whether the person is on the browser or on a iPad or on a mobile device, they get an awesome experience in terms of speed, how easy is it to use, regardless of the screen size. So of course, the way you navigate an iPhone screen is different from the way you navigate a huge desktop screen, right? So is the person able to get the information they need quickly, and is it loading fast? So CR/UX looks at all of that to make sure if your website is doing everything Google wants you to do. In the old days, people could, for example, target a particular keyword or do specific things for specific pages. Now you have to take a holistic approach and work on your entire website. The good news with Google, and it has been the tradition of Google for ages, they'll tell you what they're doing and what you need to do to get on their good books. So they tell you all of this through the CR/UX tool, and you just have to work on it. Now, we have a very large webmaster team, and that's what they do. They focus on CR/UX and making sure our clients are doing well. So I think you have to pay attention to this if you want to show up more and more in AI Overview and even in regular search, Google EAT and CR/UX. And the last thing is to not use AI generated content, because it can hallucinate and cause harm, but because of that, you won't even rank. Google is looking for that kind of content. It's punishing people who are using AI generated content because Google doesn't know if it's correct or incorrect.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about that punishment. What could happen if a practice doesn't really adapt these AI driven search changes?
Yeah, I think obviously you're going to be left behind, and we're already in deep trouble. And many of our new clients who are calling us because they realize there's a huge drop in their new client calls, new people engaging with them. So they have to spend even more on ads, and ads are getting even more expensive. Our clients who are spending money on SEO can, for $1,000, generate the same results somebody else spending $5,000 to $10,000 on ads generate. So it's a huge advantage. Now, when you multiply that over a year, that extra, $5,000 or $4,000 in savings turns into $50,000 over 10 years. That's $500,000 saved versus having to spend money on ads. So I really think those who know how to lean into AI search, regular search, are going to have a bigger and bigger advantage because the world is moving in that direction. And everybody else who doesn't focus on this organic way of getting new clients will spend more and more money on ads, because that's the only way they're going to get any clients. So I do think those who lean in will have an unfair advantage. Of course, don't forget the fundamentals. You need to get reviews, and ideally 10 or more reviews. You need to, do all the things that Google is looking for, from EAT to CRUX to original content, not AI content. So all of those things, you have to make sure somebody's taking care of it, and you are monitoring as the business owner to make sure those things are moving in the right direction. How many keywords are you ranking for? How many new leads you are getting? Are all those growing over time?
And Naren, does a well-rounded marketing strategy still matter in the age of AI, or is SEO enough?
I think AI search and SEO search is merging, because Google has incorporated AI into Google itself. So there's no longer this SEO that's different from AI. To me, it's all one. Some people call AI search AEO, AI engine optimization, and some people call SEO. To me, they're all one and the same. And of course, don't ignore platforms like ChatGPT and Perplexity and so forth. Even though they're only like 1%, 2% when it comes to similar queries, search type queries, where people are looking for information, you never know. So you don't want to take any chances. You want to be everywhere, but definitely don't ignore the elephant in the room, which is Google, which is 90% plus of the market, or how you would get new clients. So I do think you have to work on all of them. And also the old ways of search still works. The map still works. When I type in, something near me or zip code, that still works. The review still works. So you have to keep track of everything you're doing up until this point, plus do the new things around AI and AI mode and AI overview and so forth.
Right. And to our listeners, if they want their practices to start showing up more and get chosen by AI, as well as pet owners alike, what should their first steps be?
Yeah, they need to, start by doing an analysis. And one of the things we offer to everyone who's listening is what we call a marketing strategy meeting. The link is veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM, veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. We'll put a link in the show notes as well. And what we do is we study you and your competition. We'll tell you how you are standing against your competition. Are you doing well? Are you doing poorly when it comes to you showing up on all these searches? And if you're doing well, what are the reasons you're doing well? Or if you're doing poorly, what are the reasons you're doing poorly? There are 6 types of things Google is looking at on a regular basis. And in those 6 areas, how are you doing? If you're doing great, then keep doing it, keep crushing it. If you're not, then do something about it and fix it, right? So that's kind of, where I would start. And it's our gift to you. It's a $900 value. Once again, the link is veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. So we'll give you both a report card as well as a game plan. And the game plan is all about how do I dominate? How do I get into that top 5% that's getting 95% of the free benefit by mastering AI search as well as regular search, AEO as well as SEO. So take advantage of it. And, if you like this podcast, of course, share it with your friends and colleagues or share it on social media. And hopefully a few other people can also benefit from it.
Absolutely. And that wraps up another episode of the Veterinary Business Podcast. Today, we explored how AI is reshaping the way pet owners find veterinary clinics and what practices need to do to stay visible, trusted, and chosen in this new era of zero-click searches. A huge thank you to Naren Arulraja for sharing actionable insights on optimizing websites, leveraging SEO and reviews, and building marketing strategies that work in the age of AI. If you are ready to adapt and make sure your practice is seen by both AI tools and pet owners, remember, you can book a complimentary marketing strategy meeting with Laila and her team at www.veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. all of us here at the Veterinary Business Podcast, thank you for showing up and investing your time in growing your practice. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode packed with strategies, insights, and real-world advice to help your clinic thrive. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.